Hey, what's going on, guys? So I just talked about this Microtech Ultratech here in the video. I mentioned I want to compare it to a Tack Knives model, and that's what I have right here. So let me open this guy up, show you what I'm talking about here. Now this came with a bunch of accessories. So here's the knife itself. The case is kind of cool. I mean, we have a little pocket in the back here. It came with a little bag, there's a strap there. We also have an actual carry sheath, which has a little strap, some Velcro. So kind of nice, you know. Doesn't matter the price point of any knife. When you get accessories, that's always fun. But anyway, this one is called the Prism. All right, now this OTF sells for $99.95. This is a $100 knife compared to this Ultratech, which happens to be a $300 knife. Now, is this worth 3 times the price of this? Yes and no. I mean, if you dig Microtech, you're a Microtech fan, that's what you collect, then yes, of course. It's a major brand. What's nice to know is that there's a company in America you can contact if you have issues. That's always a bonus. This is a Chinese-made knife. Now, this comes from Tack Knives. They happen to have great customer service. If you had an issue with this, I'm sure they'd take care of you, but it is on a different level. It's just something a little bit different. So I'll just go ahead and say this is a major brand. This is an off-brand for all intents and purposes. There's nothing wrong with this, but as far as, like I said, customer service like that, they're both fantastic, but everyone's mileage varies. I've heard horror stories, people trying to, you know, get stuff fixed from Microtech and it didn't work out. I've had great experiences. I can't speak to the people who haven't. I can only go by my own personal experience, right? But as far as specs here, this happens to be a little bit of a bigger knife. This one has 3.5 inch blade, 3.4 inch blade. This one's 5 inches closed. This is 4.6 inches closed. This is actually the same exact weight at 3.4 ounces. This one is rocking D2. So $100 D2 blade, $300 M90. Now this is currently offered in LMAX, but 6 to 1, half dozen the other. Still a premium steel. Nothing wrong with D2, but it's not premium like this. So right off the bat, I could tell you, because I've been carrying this one a lot lately, and I just dig it. It's just really cool. Now, the blade profile does not matter because they're both, well, this one I'm not sure if they're offering different blade profiles, but in general, cheaper OTFs, you can get whatever shape you want. So if you happen to be a Wharncliffe fan, let's say, you could find Wharncliffe blades. I'm not focused on that. I happen to just dig this blade profile a little bit more than the Tanto, but that's a non-issue as far as comparing them. Some things I noticed right off the bat. The switch, right? So the switch from Microtech, which I talked about in the other video, very aggressive. Let me get a close-up shot of both of these, compare. So you can see it's very aggressive with those cuts. I mean, you're never going to miss it. Retracting it is fine. You know, pushing it out is totally fine, right? Compared to this one. I mean, they both work fine. I could tell you that the pressure it takes is about the same to open them. But notice, like, the track, when I push this up from Microtech, let's see where it breaks. Right there. This one right there. So they're very similar in where they actually break and they will shoot out. In pulling them back, you can see this has a slightly different design. So this one's like the same length pushing forward and same length pulling back. This one has a much shorter angle pulling back, but it works fine. All right, so if you look at the profiles here, this is higher but has a shorter run, but it works fine. There's less resistance than the Microtech in pulling them back. Does that make sense? So I actually prefer the switch on the Prism just a little bit more. All right, it's just more comfortable. Like barehanded here, I can do this all day long. The Microtech, I'm feeling it in my thumb. Like the texturing is a little aggressive to continuously open and close. Now, they're not meant to just open and close a million times, but that's what we do. We play with them, right? But something else too, and I mentioned in the Microtech video, there's play in this. A little side to side, a little up and down, in the open position as well as the closed position. There is zero play in any direction, open or closed. It's just tight. It just feels good. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you hand these to people who don't really know much about knives and you start talking about it a little bit and you say, what do you think? And, you know, normal people will be like, oh, this one rattles a little bit. And you're like, wow, that's $300, that's $100. Now, it's not the whole story, clearly, but it's just one of those things you notice. You know what I mean? So I just like the fact that it's just a nice tight fit. As far as the handles, they both obviously have hardware, but what I really like about the Prism is the hardware is on the back side. So the presentation side, the top scale, if you're righty, is just a nice clean look. And the Microtechs, we all know they have the proprietary hardware, but it's right there out front. Now that kind of looks industrial. That could be a cool thing, something you do like. Again, just total preference. As far as the pocket clips, I think that the Microtech carries just a little bit better. The pocket clip is just a little bit tighter. All right, now obviously it's sitting on a smooth aluminum scale. This one has a little bit of texturing, but it doesn't really matter because it goes with the, you know, the pocket clip. This one's just a looser. What I mean by that is the spring steel just allows more movement. There's no problem with it. It's not loose at all. I'm just saying when I pull this out, it's just a little easier to pull out. This is a little bit harder, but in a good way, like it's secured to the pocket. Does that make sense? Now obviously the pocket clip is just attached on the side and we have a separate lanyard hole. Whereas this, the pocket clip wraps around, so that creates the lanyard hole on the end. This also has a glass breaker on there. This one does not. All right, so that means something to you. Then obviously the Microtech would be your choice. So, you know, I mean, $100 works well. I wish this was offered in a premium steel for 150 or 200 bucks. That'd be cool. I'd love to get this in S30V, M390. Even something like 154 is totally fine. 150, a CPM 154 CM would be fantastic. You know, but that's just what it is for now. So, even though they're in different price ranges, I mean, are they really offering different things? I don't know. I mean, they're OTFs. You play with them sometimes. Some people use them. Some people collect them. This is not collectible at all. This definitely has something that there's a collectability about it. There's like a pride of ownership. You're like, wow, I have a Microtech Ultratech. People are like, cool. They're jealous, right? Oh, I got a Prism. What? What's a Prism? You know what I mean? So there's definitely something to be said about that. Some people care about that. Some people don't. If you're a knife collector, as far as resale, all that kind of stuff, you're definitely going to have an easy time selling a Microtech, no matter what it is. Everyone gets it. A Prism, randomly made in China, not so much. If you're using these things, this is really where your value is. You can get 3 of these for the price of that. This does come in different colors if you're not into the blue, and you guys know this comes in a million variations, different blades, blade steels, blade shapes, colors, looks, finishes. But I'm just saying, like, don't forget about these knives. These are not going to impress anyone as far as, oh, you know, branding or anything like that. But they just work. If you're just looking to get an EDC that works, and you want an OTF, or you just want an OTF in your collection, especially a beginner, I would always recommend, check one of these out. This Prism is really underrated. Oh, dropped it. This is fantastic for the price, right? For 100 bucks, you'd be really impressed. You can actually carry and use this. It hasn't misfired or anything. No issues like that at all for me. It works well. And if you dig this, yeah, maybe try, you know, like a Microtech. See what you think, you know. But at the end of the day, they're offering very, very similar things outside of the cool factor that this is a Microtech. You know, outside of the collectability of a Microtech, outside of the prestige that it carries as a brand. That logo means something to people in the knife community. This doesn't have a logo. This doesn't mean anything. It's just Attack Knives, okay? You know? But this is definitely an underdog. But I love it. I dig it. It works. It works very well. That's what I'm here to say. So don't write off knives like this if you're just looking for a bargain or you're on a budget and you want a cool OTF. Definitely look at stuff like that. Not all cheap OTFs are created equal. I could say that. The $40 ones, the $60, they're very hit and miss. You know, some of them are super clunky and they twang and they're very heavy. They're made out of pot metal. Something like this is actually really nice. It's way nicer than you think. It's closing the gap. I feel like, again, with a slightly different blade steel, this could sell for $300 and people would just be just as happy with it. The fit and finish is fantastic. The design's pretty cool. I dig it. It's not a Microtech. It never will be. But it's a fantastic knife to use. And you can have pride of ownership and actually enjoy using it. But if you're a collector, no one cares about that. So again, it just depends on who you're talking about and why you're buying that knife in the first place. But I kind of want to compare them a little bit just to show really how impressive these are compared to something that's name brand at 3 times the price. So let me know your opinions down below, but thoroughly impressed. This one specifically, you know, there's, again, hit and miss. There's a bunch from Tech Knives I've had that are really nice, simple aluminum body OTFs and like the I'd say $80, $90 range all the way up to $170. And of course they do deals and sales all the time, so you know, try to get in on the deal, save some money. You know, this being $100, I mean, it might be on sale for 70, be even cooler. Price at the end of the day always matters the most, right? Obviously. That's what makes us buy stuff or not buy stuff. if everything was cheap, we'd buy it all. But anyway, that's it. Just my opinions. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know in the comment section, do you EDC and OTF? And if you do, which one? I'd be curious to hear. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.